Hi, I'm Lisa Lloyd. People have ideas for new products all the time, but how do you know if your invention is actually worth pursuing? It takes time, effort, and money to bring an idea to market, even if your goal is to license rather than manufacture and sell it yourself. So, before you dive in, it's crucial to ask the right questions. As someone who's been licensing on and off for the last 30 years, I can tell you this. Not every good idea is worth chasing. Over the years, I've had thousands of ideas, but only a handful of the very best ones have made their way from my imagination all the way to store shelves. Today, I'm going to share how to evaluate your invention ideas and recognize the red flags that can save you time, effort, and frustration when you're deciding if an idea is worth investing your time and hard-earned money into. Hi, Lisa Lloyd here with more tips, tricks, and hacks and strategies to optimize and accelerate your invention licensing success. YouTube is an awesome free way to learn, and you can support me making more free videos just like this one when you like, subscribe, and leave your comments below. So here's the big question that you need to answer. Does your invention solve a big enough pain for enough people that it's worth pursuing? Sounds simple, right? But there are lots of things to unpack here. So let's break it down. First, your invention needs to address a real and specific problem. People should feel an immediate aha moment when they see your invention, right? For general consumer goods, it's best when you focus on solving for functionality. Aesthetic appeal, like colors or maybe even interchangeable designs, might catch attention, but studies show that it's not enough to make consumers switch from what they're already using from the brands that they know, like, and already trust. For toys, games, or novelty items, it's all about the experience, fun, entertainment, or surprise. The objective here isn't just solving a problem, it's delivering joy. Second, your idea might be brilliant, but is the market demand big enough? In other words, is there a big enough pool of consumers for it? A product that solves a niche problem for a very small group of people is going to be hard to get licensed and have a much smaller earning potential if you were to find a company to license it all. Think about it. Companies want to invest in ideas that have mass appeal. Let me give you a couple of examples just to illustrate here. Let's say that you've invented a kitchen gadget that cuts the prep time in half and reduces the mess. That's addressing a very real pain point that appeals to a very broad audience. People who cook at home, right? Big. Now imagine a version of the gadget, but the only difference is a more stylish design. Aesthetic changes alone won't convince most people to ditch what they've already been using. For toys and novelty products, the same rules apply. If it's not immediately fun or engaging, it's not going to work in that space. Before you invest too much time or money into your idea, validate it by talking to people who would probably use it. And I do not mean tell them your idea. Here's how to do this effectively. First, find your audience. Where do they hang out? Join online forums or social media groups or even in-person communities where potential users spend their time. Second, ask them open-ended questions. Don't pitch your idea, just ask them about their experience with whatever those competing products are that they are currently using. Using the kitchen gadget example again, you could ask, what's the most frustrating part of your meal prep? Or, more specifically, if you have a new way to prep veggies, for example, then ask them what they use for prepping veggies, followed by what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and why. Thirdly, listen for recurring pain points. If the problem that your invention solves comes up again and again in these conversations, that's a good sign that you're on the right track. In some cases, people have just learned to live with the problem though, so you may need to prod them a little bit. For example, you could say, if assuming that you still have an idea for a device that both preps and stores now those leftover veggies, you might ask, do you ever have any veggies left over when you're done prepping? If so, what do you do with them? Remember, the goal here isn't to sell your idea, it's to learn how others experience the problem and gain insights to confirm that it's a big enough pain for enough people to even begin investing in. This is very early stage research. You'll probably even get to know how other people experience the problem in ways that gives you new ideas for how you might solve that problem or improve on your own idea from those insights. And here's a pro tip for you. There are general guidelines for sample sizes. So, assuming the population of potential users for your product is 10,000 people or more, which it should be, then you can interview just 50 people who use competing products. If 1 in 3, which is 33%, show interest, this suggests a strong signal for moving forward. This is a reasonable sample size to achieve a 95% confidence level with only a 5% margin for error. So, let's review some simple red flags to consider when you're deciding to move forward with an idea that maybe just popped into your head. These are the warning signs that your idea is probably not worth pursuing unless there are special circumstances. If you take nothing else away from this video, please write these down. First, it doesn't solve a big enough problem. If the problem is a minor or something that most people don't even really notice, they're unlikely to buy a solution for it. So when you're doing those interviews, if the responses consistently indicate that they really don't have leftovers, for using the same example about the veggies prep that also store device, maybe it just happens really rarely for them, then that would be a good sign that the demand just isn't big enough. Second, the audience itself is too small. If only a tiny group of people would find your idea useful and love it, that's exciting, but it's also very niche and most companies won't see the potential for mass market sales, which is what they're looking for to license. Thirdly, if you're too focused on aesthetics, style is nice, but it's not a standalone selling point unless it's tied to maybe some sort of functional experience. The only time that I've seen a design really matter is when it supports a significantly better user experience, maybe say for example with ergonomics. And finally, the fourth red flag is if it's too complex or expensive to produce. Simplicity is key here, right? So a simple, meaningful improvement to an existing product is not only easier to manufacture, but it's also easier to market to the consumer. Disruptive products take a lot longer to gain the traction, so they also cost a lot more to bring to market as a result, for several reasons. If your product is overly complex or expensive to produce, then companies are likely to shy away. And here's my final, more of a pro tip, but red flag number 5 is the earning potential. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to earn as much as possible if I'm going to take this kind of a risk. This is really up to you. If you want to make significant money from licensing your invention, then you must solve a very real problem that consumers face every day. Think about products found in nearly every household across America. For maximum earning potential, your invention should have either a low price point with a high sales volume or a higher price point that you can get away with a moderately lower volume in sales. Either of these ensures that your invention generates enough revenue to make all of the time and money you put into it worthwhile. So, is your invention idea worth pursuing? Just ask yourself, does it solve a specific pain point? Does it appeal to a big enough audience? And are you confident it's simple and affordable to produce? And don't forget to validate your ideas by talking to your ideal audience for that type of product. Their feedback is invaluable and can help you to refine or even rethink your approach. If your idea checks all of these boxes, then you might just be onto something. Being an inventor can be tough and confusing at times, but I'm here to help. Drop your questions in the comments or use the links below to book a free call or learn more about my Ninja Inventor training. Let's turn your idea into reality.